Hey, what's going on, everybody? EnteRChazmaN here, back with yet another week, or I guess it's been about 2 weeks since I've done another weekly roundup with you guys, and kind of shown some light on a topic or a couple topics that have really interested me. I'm coming to you with a fresh cut, new glasses, new lenses. We're looking good. We're ready. We're ready to dig into some juicy topics here. Just kind of jumping right into it. God, I'm taking that from Philip DeFranco. Why, Phil? Why? Why do you have to have such a good catchphrase? Kind of getting right into this. So, if you have not been paying attention, another big story that has been kind of, I don't want to say is like, I feel like the story has been kind of under talked about, underutilized, but something that has very much interested me for many reasons has been a recently lawsuit that has been levied towards a content creator called Coffeezilla on the YouTubes, on the interwebs. Now, while why I'm gonna talk about this is one, which I'll explain. I know it's gonna seem very much that I dislike Logan Paul and that I think he's a bad dude. Those are gonna be true, but I will say that is not the only reason why I'm gonna be covering this and talking about Logan Paul as a whole. A primary reason, almost larger to me than the fact that I dislike him and think he's kind of a bad guy, is more the fact that I think stuff like this represent like touchstones and milestones within YouTube and other and what they mean for the content creators in terms of legalities and what it means for like consumers and fans as a whole being scammed and people being taken advantage of them. So I feel like that is, in my opinion, is more the reason why I feel like this is such an important topic to talk about. One, again, yes, do I like the guy? No. I think he's a bad dude. Does he have certain talents? Sure. But in terms of what this means for the community as a whole, I think stuff like this sets a dangerous precedent for what it could mean for, I mean, not just, I don't want to say me. I mean, I'm a nobody, in the grand scheme of things, but what this means for somebody like a Coffeezilla. But yeah, so real quick, starting to dive into who these people are. If you don't know, Coffeezilla is a gigantic name in the content creator space, in the YouTube space. He is I would definitely consider him a journalist. He may not be working for some major news organization, but he is a very big name in terms of the YouTube space for journalism. He's done a great job looking into many topics. He's got 3.73 million subscribers. He's very thorough, puts in great work in terms of just digging into things and kind of digging into Logan Paul a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by telling you guys my history with Logan Paul and kind of explain why I don't necessarily like this guy and why I don't necessarily think he's that good of a dude. Now, I'll just throw it out there. I think Logan Paul lately in his career has found a great niche, and I mean, he's incredibly wealthy, super big content creator. He's, multi-million dollar companies and businesses and stuff. I think honestly he has found his go-to spot, and I think that is wrestling. I really do think beyond all the boxing and stuff, which I don't necessarily think anything he and his brother does, Jake Paul, I don't think anything that these two guys kind of get into is ever on the up and up or ever real or not scammy oriented. But for some reason, I think that he has found a good place with the WWE. I think he's got athleticism, he's got the physique, he's got the look. I actually think he's got the personality for it. And honestly, you could say that the reason why that is because wrestling is heavily faked and heavily. I'm a wrestling fan myself, but let's be honest, it's fake. It's people putting on a persona, people acting. There's a lot of bravado. There's a lot of talking up. And that's perfect for Logan Paul. So again, I'm not going to go too deep into his wrestling. I think he's perfect for where he's at with that. But as we start to dive into where I first heard about Logan Paul. So if you haven't seen on the channel, I'm a bit biased, but I am a fan of the H3 H3 podcast or H3H3 YouTube channel, as it used to be called. And that most definitely, several years ago on their channel, was most definitely where I first heard of Logan Paul and his brother Jake Paul. So as we begin to dive into where I had... Oh, my monitor just shut off. As we begin to dive into where exactly I had first learned about them, this video may very well... it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but this may very well be the first time I'd ever heard of him, is people riffing on him, making fun of him. Back on his... let's see, to start off with, he was originally a Viner, which I should say is... I'm very happy to say that I totally skipped over the whole Vine craze and all of that social media stuff. I have no idea what Vine... Like, I'm assuming the purpose of it was... wasn't it like TikTok, kind of? Like an original TikTok or an original Instagram almost for content creators. I remember the Vine houses or content houses that they used to do back in LA, and yeah. So he was originally a Viner, eventually moved on to YouTube, and just did a bunch of stuff with his brother. I remember him and his Jake Paul, they were doing It's Everyday Bro was something they were huge on. They were incredible merch, like hounds or whatever you want to say. I was going to say something more more dirty. Merch pushers. Like, I remember, like, everything they used to say always had to do with their merch, always had to do with stuff. I remember they're kind of weird people in general. I remember their dad was even like a part of some of this stuff. What was his name? Greg Paul. Again, only reason I know all this is because I'm a fan of H3H3 back in the day, and I used to watch all their videos that they did covering these guys, and yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't particularly like their old style of content, and but nevertheless, the first time I'd heard of them was after he had made a video called what was it? He had color blindness, or he claimed he had color blindness, and he claimed he had found a pair of glasses that solved his color blindness, and him and H3H3 or Ethan Klein and iDubbbz had done a video where they were riffing on him and making fun of him. So here we go. This is the first time I had heard a very quick snippet.
Okay, I'm about to put on these glasses that are going to cure my color blindness for the first time in my life.
There's one other.
So yeah, that was a very quick snippet of one of his videos. This is from H3's video where they were making fun of him. But yeah, the rest of his video kind of was just him talking about stuff, and I remember he was talking about his parrot or whatever his parrot's name, and it was like, there was a joke where he was like, oh, Petey's this color, and his friend's like, no, Petey's this color, and he's like, what? His content, in my opinion, was heavily tailored towards children. There were constant merch, ads, and they were constantly telling people to buy merch, and you could just tell that they were taking advantage of their younger audience and just trying to kind of drain money out of them. Go figure. You're going to hear a lot of that. A lot of moments of in this video. A lot of moments of Jake and Logan are trying to, suck money out of their fans and viewers. But another time that I had heard of them that also was covered in H3H3 was the VidCon 2017 disaster that kind of happened. This is where I don't even remember the outcome of this. I think Logan had been banned or been kicked out after this. But basically Logan had just showed up at VidCon, he was like a big YouTuber, and kind of just showed up in the crowd outside the building and like had created just a bunch of young kids running around and tripping over each other, and he kind of just turned it into a big disaster for like everybody involved. And, like, you can see his security is telling him, like,
I think
dude,
the reason
you
that
can't be out
security
here.
looked angry and they were pulling him out is because he wasn't supposed to be there, because they knew if he went in this main area that there would be a stampede that would result in several fatalities.
I mean, you can clearly see it's just mayhem. It's no holds barred, just like people all over each other.
Logan Paul's like, if two little kids don't get trampled to death, then I'm not as famous as I thought. By the way, what color is that shirt, dog?
But yeah, it's just a total disaster VidCon. I think there was also another video of security further yelling at him and telling him how awful and dumb this was. And yeah, I'm pretty sure VidCon after that had told him no mas, no more of that. As we're continuing to rattle off the controversies with this guy. Another one that was big, again, covered by H3H3, but I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny. But they had the whole Dink Doink controversy. If you don't know Dink Doink, Logan had attempt during the big cryptocurrency craze. Logan had started this crypto called Dink Doink, and within it, it was basically the Boogie 298 situation, or the countless other several hundred, hundreds of cryptocurrency stuff pushed by celebrities. Sorry, dog's freaking out because of the thunder. But essentially what happened is he had, like, on all of his social medias, on all of his YouTubes, he was promoting this new crypto coming out called Dink Doink. He was talking about how it was going to change crypto and make people money, and it's going to be this big thing. And wouldn't you know, he even did a music video. Here you go. I'll play it for you. I don't even know if this is copyright claim, but oh well.
Dink Doink, you're my favorite.
I'm just noticing down here, Dink Doink, the actual page, it only has 459 subscribers. Please play this at Logan's funeral. Oh, okay, I gotta read these comments. Whenever you're having a bad day, just remember that people heard this song and thought to themselves, this is going to be a great project. I'm investing. I hope they play this at Logan's trial. I feel bad for the animators.
Want you to dink on my face, take a doink on my chest, yeah. Dink doink, you're my favorite.
Again, I'm doing what I can to show you guys that Logan Paul is not. I don't think he ever has good intentions with whatever he's working on. I think him and his brother, all they have ever done is scam people. Scam people and done legitimately weird, which we'll get into, weird things. And not only were they scamming people at this time, they literally ripped off South Park's animation style for this video. There was nothing original that these guys were doing at the time other than being incredibly annoying and scamming people, in my opinion. And it's again, their content was made for children, in my opinion, who don't know any better. All they ever did was tell children to go out and buy their merch. And another one we have, we'll right on into the next one. Another one that I remember specifically that I thought was really messed up from Logan. Now, this one's a little bit more iffy in terms of what exactly is his fault and how closely tied he is to this situation, but I still think he should be held liable for whatever was going on here. But if you see, there was a news article that was covered. This is NBC News. Animal Sanctuary rescues abandoned pet pig that once belonged to Logan Paul. Pearl the Pig, it was named. A California animal sanctuary is going viral after it shared how it saved an abandoned pig that it said once belonged to YouTuber Logan Paul. In a TikTok video posted Monday, the Junto Barn said it picked up a pig named Pearl that had been abandoned in a field after she was irresponsibly rehomed. So essentially, it had been rehomed and then had been, I guess, not taken very good care of. So it technically was not in his care anymore, but still, it's again, it's questionable as to how much that is on him, considering he was no longer the owner of the pig. It still means what was his vetting process for the people he was giving the pig to or selling the pig to? I don't know. Again, the guy, as we'll get into, he's, in my opinion, he's not a very good decision maker. And you'll see due to some of the more recent decisions he's been making, but we'll get into that. So it said, Jitabar picked a pig named Pearl that had been abandoned in a field after she was irresponsibly rehomed. We read that. The organization said that Pearl was found next to a dead pig that had tattered ears and a potentially life-threatening infection in her uterus. From what we've been told, it's believed she was purchased originally from a breeder by an influencer. Gentle Barn said in a video's caption, people often buy mini pigs or teacup pigs for clout online, believing they will stay small, but when they inevitably grow large and have many unexpected needs, they're sadly discarded. After Gentle Barn posted the video, Paul's 2020 tweet about adopting a pig named Pearl resurfaced online. On February 26, 2020, he tweeted an image of him and a pig and wrote that he was told it was a mini pig, and he included a photo with a fully grown pig. A spokesperson for Gentle Barn said in an email statement Tuesday that it had now received an email from YouTuber Logan Paul thanking us for taking in Pearl the pig. Representatives for Paul did not immediately respond to requests for comment Tuesday. Teacup pigs, mini pigs, nano pigs, and any other breeds marketed as pet pigs are a myth. According to the Best Friends Animal Society, piglets sold as miniature pigs are typically pot-bellied pigs, which can grow up to 100 to 200 pounds in adulthood. So here is Logan Paul with his pig. Clearly he didn't keep it because he was told it was a mini pig. That's a large pig, and again, questionable in terms of how much it's on him, but this was one of those things where like there was so much being thrown at him that this was like another was just another step towards, in my opinion, me thinking he's a bad guy. But nonetheless, all right, so moving on, what do we have next? He also had a podcast, or I think he still has a podcast, just kind of explaining where his career is and where it's been. So he has a big podcast called Impulsive that he does with Mike Malak. I know there was some other guys, but there was some controversy with the other guys. Oh gosh, I can't remember their names. There was some controversy with some other guys over some things. I think it had something to do with Bobby Lee, oddly enough. I don't know. I'm not going to go looking for it. I don't care enough. But yeah, so him and Mike Malak. Mike Malak, in my opinion, in terms of Impulsive, in terms of friends with Logan Paul, he's honestly one of the less harmful people in his radius. From what I've seen, Mike Malak is actually like kind of a decent dude. For all I know, he could do something terrible in the future. But from what I understand, Mike Malak is kind of like the nice, or the positive angel on Logan Paul's shoulders. And the real Logan Paul is the devil on the other one. I'm sorry. But yeah, Mike Malak, from what I've seen, he appears to be a decent dude. I've seen him have a couple situations where he's like the voice of reason in terms of things with Logan. But anywho, all right, so big podcast, as you can see, 4.7 million subscribers. They've got all these wrestlers and comedians and stuff. So big channel, big podcast. Another big thing was Prime Energy. He started that, and even Prime Energy is like, that is huge. That, that's a big company. You see his drinks and stuff in some stores and in some on some shelves. But even that is not immune to criticism and to controversy. Prime has even been getting some lawsuits. So even you can see here from Business Insider, Logan Paul's Prime supplier is suing the energy drink company for $68 million. So the supplier is suing Prime for $68 million, accusing it of cutting ties as demand cratered. The supplier of Prime, a range of energy drinks co-founded by Logan Paul, a controversial YouTuber known for posting in Japan suicide forest and being accused of promoting a series of crypto scams. No. It says that Prime is suing the supplier. Suing the beverage company, says it cuts ties with demand for once the red hot drink cratered and owes at least $68 million. Refresco, a beverage bottling that has 1,400. Oh gosh, I don't know all these numbers. According to its website, it says in a lawsuit that Prime Hydration breached. I don't know. So it is Prime that is being sued. Yes, Prime is the one being sued. Gosh, I don't know why. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I can't read. Maybe I'm dumb. Prime Hydration breached a 2023 contract in which it committed to ordering a minimum of 18.5 million cases, or 222 million bottles, annually over 3 years, or a total of 55.5 million cases. Cumulatively, over 3 years in exchange, Refresco invested in an exclusive custom production line for the drinks, which required large upfront expense, blah, blah, blah. So, great. Refresco accuses Prime of failing to order the required amount during the first year of the contract, incurring a penalty payment. The penalty, which isn't specified in the lawsuit, could be repaid at the end of the 3 years. The company were to order 55 million cases, the complaint says. So, again, everything that this guy touches, in my opinion, is controversial. There's nothing he has his hands on that does not eventually turn into lawsuits. He said, she said. Somebody is getting in trouble with what he's doing. I'm honestly surprised that in WWE there hasn't been any trouble. I mean, it's questionable how clean and on the up and up the WWE is, considering even where they were with Vince McMahon and everything that was going on there. But I don't know. He legitimately does a good job with there, and he's avoided, getting in trouble there. So good on him. That's the only thing I can think of where he hasn't legitimately caused a stir with anything. So how long are we in? We're in 20 minutes, and I've yet to really touch on the main part of what I want to talk about. We are now caught up to the reasons why. I know who Logan Paul is, what his controversies are. I don't necessarily feel like he is an admirable content creator. I don't want to say I don't think I think where he's got him and his brother have gotten where they are through scams, and they are, in my opinion, not the prime example of what a content creator should be. And I don't even think he would call himself a content creator anymore. I think he's far above and beyond that at this point with Prime and WWE and all that stuff. So that gets us up to speed, and that gets us to something he did called CryptoZoo. So what I'm going to do now is, rather than me explaining this, I think with you guys, why don't we go ahead and watch some of Coffeezilla's video. Hopefully Coffeezilla, I know I don't have your direct approval to watch some of this, but I'm going to do what I can to make you proud. I feel like this is super important to cover, and I don't know if I specified why earlier. I think this is super important to talk about because I do feel like as a content creator, there should be a little bit of your mindset. You should have thoughts of taking care of the people that are fans of yours, that are consuming your content. I don't necessarily feel as though, trying to pull the wool or scamming your fans is the correct way of making money as a content creator. I feel as though you should make, quality content. Try and offer something that people want to buy, and I don't know, like, you'll see but there are times when with this CryptoZoo thing where Logan has put something up for sale or has started a crypto or something and has never delivered on what the actual product is, and he just takes people's money and that's it. And it's like, I know this is probably, people may not agree with this, but just because there are stupid people out there, just because there are children who will support your YouTube channel no matter what and will steal mommy and daddy's credit cards and use it to buy your merch, just because there are stupid crypto bros that will invest in almost anything, that doesn't necessarily mean like I think you should do those things, take advantage of people. Like it again, you are scamming people, and like, I don't know, that's my opinion. Like I've always said, just because you can take advantage of somebody doesn't mean you should. I think that does legitimately make you a bad person. I don't know, as a content creator, like I could only dream of ever getting to the position or the status where like people legitimately want to give me money in order to either have access to content I create or have access to a product that I give out. Like an even exchange or an even sale is like the dream of a capitalist, you know what I mean? Like in general, and Logan Paul and people like him, they're wiggling their way around and getting to the top of the pyramid. Am I reason for unclean reasons? Anyway, that's my opinion. I also think this is super important what Coffee's doing, because I'll be honest, within this space, content creation and YouTube, it doesn't feel like the proper authorities or proper like the government or it just doesn't feel like law enforcement has any sort of gosh, I can't think of the word, has any sort of, they don't do anything to properly watch over the space. There's nobody actually digging into what people are doing to scam or to harm or to or in Dr. Disrespect's case, send messages to minors. You know what I mean? There's nobody policing. That's the word I was thinking of. Why was I blanking on that? We have no like proper policing in this space, and it's like Logan Paul attacking a good and I would say ethical journalist in terms of Coffeezilla. That's Logan essentially attacking like one of the few good journalists and people policing the space. And it's like, well, yeah, of course Logan Paul is going to attack this guy. He doesn't want him digging into anything illegal or on the down low that he's working on. And it's like, again, we need people like Coffeezilla. Are there tons of essayists and other people that do what Coffee does? Sure, there's lots of people doing that, but there aren't many that are as big as Coffee. Coffee is like the big. There's like Legal, there's Coffeezilla, there's many other people. H3 is actually pretty. H3, they do what they can. They have, I enjoy some of AB's segments where he digs into topics like this and or content court, I think they feel like they used to call it. But like, there's a handful of good big channels that dig into it, and I feel like we need that. We need some people to do it. Again, there's no police force or policing or major corp organizations, in my opinion, really looking into this stuff. Everything is on the whim of Kick or Twitch or on YouTube. It's all on them to kind of police themselves, and it's like okay, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of gets kind of it sneaks on by. You know what I mean? So okay, so is that everything I wanted to touch on? Yes. All right, so let's dig into the Coffeezilla video. I've got some timestamps. So in this first timestamp, this is the first 35 seconds. It's just going to be Coffee explaining the situation as a whole. So let's dig in.
Logan Paul is suing me for CryptoZoo only a year after he thanked me for it. Rather than pay back his victims fully, Logan would rather publicly humiliate himself in court by accusing me of defaming him. He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me, which he hopes will stop me from exposing him.
Oh, so real quick, CryptoZoo, if you don't know, it was another like NFT-oriented scam where Coffeezilla will talk about it, but it heavily was similar to something like Pokemon, where like there would be these digital eggs and digital animals that were offered up to people to buy as like NFTs or something, and it just that's another thing Logan got in trouble for is like he did something where he was like got in trouble with Pokemon cards, and he clearly got the idea from that, and it's just like he just everything the guy touches turns to crap, in my opinion. All right, there we go. Sorry, Coffee.
Again. You see, only hours before this lawsuit was filed, I had reached out to Logan Paul about a new investigation into one of his companies, which has just been accused by the Canadian government of being a multi-layered fraud in Canada. I obviously had questions, but before I was able to get answers, Logan's team of lawyers showed up to silence me. We're going to talk about that. We're also going
to... Okay. So, that was Coffee kind of telling the basic take on the situation there. This next one is Coffee explaining the lawsuit.
The lawsuit is not about Logan Paul getting defamed. Instead, this is about him trying to dodge accountability, victims, and blame anyone but himself for his problems, especially me. This lawsuit says Logan Paul wants to hold me accountable for my actions. But what actions are those? Holding him accountable? It's ironic because his lawyers claim Logan has learned to believe in the importance of accountability. But accountability for who? Currently, Logan is fighting the victims of CryptoZoo in court, and now he's fighting the journalist who exposed them in the first place. Personally, I believe Logan has learned nothing from this except how to silence people with the law.
So again, Logan is just like in this case, Logan is like he said, he's attempting to silence like the one person who is like really digging into like his books and like really looking at and is like actually in the background talking to people that have either worked with him or that have been scammed by him. And Logan doesn't like that. He doesn't want, someone digging into all the crap he's digging into. Anyways, let's continue. What will be next? So as he keeps going, Coffee is going to talk about something that may exonerate him or that may not look so good for Logan in court.
It won't be silenced because Logan's lawsuit makes no sense. We're going to go through it because from the beginning, there's problems. Logan's 5 lawyers tried to discredit me as a journalist. They paint me as someone who wanted money. They say I had a false and malicious narrative. But you know who doesn't believe that? You know who secretly praises me behind the scenes?
This journalist, YouTuber, crypto uncoverer guy named Coffeezilla, who's incredible, by the way. A very thorough, good-hearted, smart guy, did a deep dive into this project that I attempted to make called CryptoZoo.
That's right, it's Logan Paul.
so right off the bat, that's definitely going to be something Coffee will definitely use in court. Is a video of Logan Paul admitting that Coffeezilla is very thorough and he's a good guy. He's good intentions. Again, as you'll see, Coffee will show plenty of sound bites and clips of Logan just doing himself in and being a. I'll be honest, again, he's a bad guy. He just wants to scam. He just wants to continue to get away with effing people over. And again, you need people like Coffeezilla to hold people like Logan Paul accountable. If there's nobody doing that, Logan is just going to continue floating on to the next scam. One scam to the next. One scam to the next. It's like, I don't know. I'm continuing to batter that topic. In this next clip, Coffee explains what he's being sued for. Right there.
Stuff, that Coffeezilla stuff doesn't look good when you compliment the guy you're trying to sue. Maybe that's why Logan isn't even suing me for my original investigation at all, despite most of this lawsuit being a ridiculous fanfic about how I took Logan out of context, that Logan was a victim, that I withheld text messages. Logan isn't suing me for any of the original investigation, though, because he knows he can't. Instead, at the end of the lawsuit, we find what my defamation really is. I'm being sued for 2 videos and 1 tweet where I advocated for refunds. For the victims. Yes, you heard me right. Logan Paul sued me after I tried to get his fans, the CryptoZoo investors, a full refund. Remember?
Okay, so again, what he's being sued for is not the new upcoming scam that you'll hear about, but he's being sued for the CryptoZoo, where Coffeezilla was even talking to him in the background, saying, "You need to give the money back, and this is how you can do it, and this is how you can go about it." Actually, I'm in the way here, aren't I? Let me move me over here. All right, we'll keep going. Where are we at? So 415, next section. Okay.
The type of guy to then sue you. Now, I'm sure Logan
Here's
doesn't
Logan
like
explaining
it when I say
what he
things like
wants to
Logan's
do.
victims or Logan's scam, but I have a question. If they're not Logan's victims, whose victims are they? Even Logan admits they are victims. He told me via text, just thought we had the same goal of helping victims instead of a divisive social media war. So he agrees people have been wronged by his game. You know, the thing that he said will earn you money.
It's a really fun game that makes you money.
So how are these not Logan's victims? He, of course, would say it's his business partner's fault. But remember, Jake and Eddie have been out of the picture for years. And yet, CryptoZoo hasn't been released, despite...
Jake and Eddie are people that were, I believe, were heads or were assisting Logan. They were essentially running CryptoZoo, from what I understand, if I remember correctly. So... last few...
Logan constantly promising it, and of course also threatening to sue me.
We're gonna handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court. By the time this comes out, it'll be done. The game's gonna be made. You're gonna have the opportunity to get your money back if you want, if you don't want to play the game. And I'm gonna take care of the people who made me look like this was a scam perpetrated by me.
Right.
Well, again, Logan being dumb, like acting like he has done no wrong. Another section here that's pretty funny is Logan playing the blame game and throwing the blame at some weird places.
Or if you let him keep talking, Logan might rant about internet reporters having too much responsibility.
These internet journalists, internet investigative reporters have way too much responsibility on their hands that is being mismanaged and wielded in a really inappropriate way.
It's honestly funny to watch this guy whine about his problems, which you can barely hear over what sounds like a private jet. Which brings me to another problem Logan has. Part of any defamation case is damages, and proving someone has harmed your reputation. But isn't Logan richer than ever with Prime? And did he have a reputation to harm? His lawsuit shows comments calling Logan a scammer, possibly to suggest he's been hurt by my videos, but you have to have a reputation to lose one. And by the time of my reporting in question, Logan Paul was already accused of participating in multiple crypto pump and dump schemes. That article does not reference my work. So Logan had already had a reputation as a scammer before my investigation, at least if you believe their allegations. So this lawsuit from beginning to end is groundless, meritless, frivolous, and Logan knows that because behind the scenes, in clips he didn't want to get out, he's saying I'm thorough and good-hearted. But in public, he wants to sue me, silence me, and cost me money, because that's the one department where we both know he's got me beat. We might have facts, we might even have evidence, but he's got all the money and the lawyers.
So again, what Coffeezilla is saying that in order to win a case for defamation, you have to be able to prove that the things that the person that's being blamed for defamation, you have to prove that there are losses and that what this person said has defamed you. It has essentially caused you to make losses, or you've made no gains with your product or your company or anything, or revenue. And what Coffee is saying is that, dude, you're saying that I've negatively harmed your brand and your name and your company, but like, you're making more money than you've ever made at this point. You have Prime Energy making money. You're with the WWE. It's like, how exactly have I defamed you when I'm doing these videos? Am I trying to shine light on what you're doing? Yes, but like, I mean, defamation, like just because I'm pointing a light on you, none of this stuff is inaccurate. It's not untrue. Like, all of this stuff has grounds in reality. It's like, well, okay, what are you're just, and again, he mentions it at the end, Logan Paul is just a much wealthier person than he is, so he's just gonna attempt to put Coffee through years of lawsuits where, like, he's trying to run Coffee into the ground because he has more money than him. And it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, that is where things here get kind of frivolous, in my opinion, when it comes to the internet and content creators. It's like, okay, just because I'm talking about you, this person, and I'm shining a light on what you're doing, and I'm pointing out why I think what you're doing is bad, that doesn't make it untrue, and that doesn't open me up to being sued by you for defamation. You know, I mean, and it's like someone like that can shut you up because they have the money and you don't. It's in my opinion, it's a really crappy situation, and I don't know. We'll dig further into it. Okay, so we did that. Here, Coffeezilla, real quick, explains how you can help him, because he's probably gonna need. I mean, Coffeezilla is a big channel, but I don't know. He explains.
Sure. For now, the bottom line is we have to fight Logan with our personal funds, which means I need to ask for your support. If you want to help and are able to help, there are 2 ways to contribute to our fight against Logan Paul. 1, you can join our Patreon, which supports the channel. Or you can buy exclusive merch at Coffeezilla.store, where we just released the Coffeezilla Defense Drop. That's right. Life hands you lawsuits. You get rejected by your insurance. Make merch. So here's the deal. These shirts will be available for pre-order for only the next 14 days, and 100% of profits we make from selling them will go to this lawsuit. If for some weird reason there's money left over, it will be dedicated to future legal costs for this channel.
Okay, so that's a way you can help Coffeezilla. By all means, I mean, also feel free, if you want to watch the entire video, go to Coffeezilla's channel. It's right there. Logan Paul sued me. And really entertaining video. This whole saga I find to be super interesting. But yeah, so last section. This is actually a big section, so we're going to stick it out. This basically is Logan Paul's, or Coffeezilla's theory as to the reason for the lawsuit. Here we go. Lawsuit
Why
timing.
did Logan Paul sue me now? It's been over a year since he apologized and thanked me.
Thank you, Coffeezilla. I am very grateful for your work and your investigation. And I mean that. Thank you, bro.
It might seem strange, but I've got some fun facts for you that may or may not be related. Did you know 6 days before the lawsuit, I had featured Logan Paul in a teaser for a video? Did you know 21 hours before the lawsuit, I had texted Logan for comment? Did you know I told him he had 24 hours to respond, and Logan sued me 3 hours before the deadline? Yep, that's right. Logan's lawyers then threatened me in that lawsuit email that if I report on this new story, Logan might hold me accountable. And Logan's definition of accountability seems to mean he'll sue me, which is why I believe this lawsuit was not designed to win, but to shut me up, to threaten me, using Logan's wealth and a federal court system without anti-SLAPP to send a message. Do not tell that story. Of course, I don't believe that's the only reason I was sued. Clearly, Logan wanted to sue me for a while, but I believe this new investigation played a role in pulling the trigger. Maybe Logan's team will deny this. Maybe they'll say it's coincidence they sued 3 hours before a deadline. Maybe it's coincidence I announced a story about Logan 6 days before, and maybe it's coincidence that Logan's lawyers threatened me about this new story while suing me for the last story that I hadn't discussed in 6 months. But I don't think so. Either way, when someone threatens new reporting in a lawsuit about old reporting, the effect is the same. So, what was this new story? Well, it's partly about a Canadian law enforcement investigation.
Here he's going to explain the new one.
I told Logan to help him. Yes, believe it or not, I tried to help Logan.
This is the new
to explain,
controversy.
we need to go back to when CryptoZoo first got exposed. Logan said he was going to sue me, but got backlash. So he called me to apologize. He said he was wrong and wanted to make things right. I made it clear refunds are the absolute right move going forward, and to my surprise, he agreed. 100%, man. We're on the same page. But we weren't. Logan now doesn't use the word refund. He calls this a buyback. But at the time, I need you to understand, I thought Logan was going to announce a full refund, so I began trying to help him. And dare I say, I was even nice to the guy. You can see that I tried to offer people who might be able to trace blockchain damages to refund people, And in the same spirit, I made Logan aware of potential problems at a different company he co-owned, called Liquid Marketplace.
On a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace, it allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it
This is where the
together.
This
Pokemon
was a
cards come
fractionalized
into
collectible platform
play.
where Logan sold things like roughly half of a $5 million Pokemon card. The idea was you could buy tokens that represented partial ownership in rare collectibles. That video, by the way, got 8 million views, and a lot of people bought into this platform. The problem was I had heard troubling stories about this company, and I was trying to verify if the claims were true. So I had gone to the CEO, Ryan Bahadori, to ask him questions, but he kept dodging meetings. And I don't mean he refused meeting with me, I mean we would set up meetings and then he did not show up. So I was troubled, and I brought this up to Logan. I figured if he's gonna make one company right, make them all right. Otherwise, it might come back to bite him. I mean, can you imagine the disaster if another one of Logan Paul's co-founded companies was discovered to have scammed his fans? Hypothetically, that would be a very bad look. So I'm thinking, while he refunds CryptoZoo, Logan can push the CEO to talk with me, and I can figure out the truth. Maybe Logan can fix it if there's something wrong. And you can see Logan responds to me. He says, gonna push Ryan to talk to you. Again, appreciate it, man. Now, I don't hear back from Ryan or Logan about this, so after a while, I follow up again. I say, let me know if Ryan plans on talking. A lot of nasty stories still out there about Liquid Marketplace, embezzlement, etc.
So again, as you can see, there was like direct messaging between Coffee and Logan, and they're going, and Coffee is telling him specifically what he's looking for or what he just has questions about. And Coffee's really great at the wording. Like, as you can see, he's not like forceful. He's not telling him that he's just saying, listen, I'm just asking questions, which that's freaking good journalism, man. Like if you're asking all these questions and you're wording it the right way, it's like, what's the problem? I don't know. Yeah, and then you'll see that I don't know. Well,
And he's
he'll
dodged
explain.
meeting me already once. Now, obviously, the most shocking part of this is the word embezzlement. I need to make it clear. This is not an accusation. I am not accusing Logan Paul or Liquid Marketplace of wrongdoing. I brought it up in our texts because it is my job to investigate unverified claims. That's the whole point of me wanting to meet with the CEO, but I was stonewalled. Logan never replied, despite me reminding him again via email 5 months later that I wanted to talk to Ryan about, quote, embezzlement and, quote, potential fraud. Once again, not accusing anyone of wrongdoing, I'm simply doing my job at the time to chase down rumors and unverified claims. Without concrete proof, I would have never talked about any of this. But on June 19th, 2024, things changed because the Ontario Securities Commission revealed a Liquid Marketplace investigation where they accused Liquid Marketplace of being a multi-layered fraud, taking in $2.7 million from the sale of these fractionalized collectibles. The platform allegedly did not do exactly what it promised. Some of the blockchain tokens did not even mint. But even worse was the allegation that approximately $3 million was misappropriated from $10 million they raised of investor funds. This is a very similar claim to the one I had tried to verify. Ryan Bahadori, the guy I tried
$3 million out of 10 million raised. I mean,
to speak to, was accused of, quote, making hidden payments to shell corporations without any legitimate business purpose, as were two other of the founders. And Ryan was accused of, quote, using company credit cards to buy high-end fashion, expensive jewelry and watches, personal health and luxury spa services. If only there was someone who could have investigated this sooner. Now, it is really important to say, Logan Paul is not accused by the OSC. Only 3 of his co-founders and his company is. But given the history, I had questions. After all, Logan's promotional video about Liquid Marketplace is still up. And the reason many people cared about Liquid Marketplace at all was arguably Logan Paul. So here were my questions. And as I read this, it's important to correct. I say Liquid Marketplace got accused of embezzlement. Technically, the OSC alleged misappropriation of funds. Those are similar, they're not the same, so I wanted to correct that. But here's what I asked. Quote, did you take any action on hearing these allegations over a year ago? Did you get approached by the Ontario Securities Commission? And is it true that Liquid Marketplace lied about their claims of insurance, appraisals, and co-ownership as the Ontario Securities Commission alleges? You can see I gave him 24 hours to respond on June 26th at 2:03 p.m. And I was promptly sued June 27th at 11:28 a.m. with roughly 3 hours to spare. Now I want to be clear. I don't know the answers to the questions I sent. Maybe Logan secretly whistleblew to the OSC when I first went to him. I don't know. That's why you ask questions as a reporter. But now the story is not about those questions. It's about why I was sued immediately after asking them and threatened if I reported about Liquid Marketplace in a way they didn't like. This is not how I wanted this story to come out because there's still so much we don't know and so much I can't say now for legal reasons. Maybe Logan's totally innocent. Maybe he surrounded himself with scumbags who defrauded his fans. Maybe he'll do a refund for this project. I don't know because I never got the chance to find out. I tried to investigate, but I was stonewalled and sued when I asked questions. Make no mistake though, this investigation is still ongoing, and you can reach me at the email below if you were affected. I will release my full investigation when it's appropriate, because even if Logan doesn't want to answer questions, it doesn't mean I have to stop asking them.
So again, that's the rest of the video. I kind of wanted, that's all the important stuff I wanted to really dig into. But again, the big problem here is that, you know, Coffee had been having all of these friendly enough conversations, texts back and forths with Logan. He's asking questions about these things that everyone already knows about. And then the second Coffee begins to kind of ask questions and dig into something new, or a new controversy that basically has not been, you know, outed yet, all of a sudden, like 3 hours after he asks about something, he gets sued. And Logan Paul hires not just one lawyer. I don't know if you mentioned it. Logan Paul has hired 5 lawyers to help with the lawsuit against Coffeezilla. It's like, come on, dude. Logan's such a scumbag. It's like, all of the money that he's spending for these 5 lawyers for a lawsuit, he could have easily returned the money to all of the people he scammed with CryptoZoo, and he could have made Coffeezilla disappear a long time ago. And it's like, come on, dude. Like he would much rather be a jerk, scumbag, scam artist than like make his problems go away. It's like, dude, I don't know. That's all I have to say about Logan. I mean, I'm not a terribly big fan of his. I totally forgot to did I ever talk about the Suicide Forest? Did I ever mention, did I skip right over the Suicide Forest thing? Yeah. Oh my god, I'm looking at my notes now. So yeah, famous image here of Logan going to Japan, and not only going to Japan, but being incredibly rude and disrespectful to their culture as a whole, in my opinion. If you've seen the Suicide Forest video, just an outright douchebag. Like, he just goes over there and he's like messing around with all the people. He goes to the Suicide Forest, where it's infamous for people committing suicide, and he stumbles across a body, and just I can't believe I forgot the Suicide Forest. There you go. That's another thing to kind of throw in for him. But yeah, once again, guys, not something I want to cover just because I dislike him. Of course I dislike him. I don't think he's a good dude. But I feel like this is super important, because what's to stop... If Logan can come after a large a journalist or YouTube investigator, then what's to stop him from going after our smaller scale people? Like, what's to stop him from coming after me or somebody else for doing a video that's going to get 20 views? You know what I mean? It's just like... Stuff like this sets a bad precedent that needs to be stamped out. It needs to be stomped out. Like, you cannot let stuff like this happen. It's like what happened with H3H3 with oh gosh, who was that other guy who tried to sue him? I think that was copyright infringement or something like that. What was his name? Or I don't know. He's going through it right now with Ryan Kavanaugh and all that stuff. There was another guy that tried to sue him. I can't remember his name. That guy's kind of disappeared. But yeah, like I said, stuff like this needs to be supported, needs to be defended, because, you know, if they can come for him, they can come for us all, if you know what I mean. So, all right, everyone, down in the comments, I would love to know what you think about Coffeezilla, Logan Paul, everything, Suicide Forest, the Suicide Forest, any saga or any aspect of the saga of Logan Paul. Down in the comments, let me know what you think. Do you like him? Do you hate him? Do you hate Coffeezilla? Yeah, fascinating story. If there's anything else major that comes out of this, you can expect I would like to definitely talk about it. So, on to the next topic. Okay, so I went on a while with that last topic, I'll admit. What was that, like almost 50 minutes? So I promise from here on out we're going to speed things up and kind of more rapid fire our way through these. Another big topic that means something to me, or used to mean something to me. If you guys haven't seen, there's been a lot of, I guess, mismanagement going on over at BUNGIE, which, to begin with, I guess I'll start off with some of my, real quick, my history, my love, and for the former days of BUNGIE. If you don't know, huge fan of Halo. I would say Halo is one of those franchises that really introduced me to like proper console gaming. Like, I remember my uncle getting an original Xbox and getting the original Halo, and that was like a big deal. That was like oh my goodness, what kind of game is this? First-person shooter? Yes, were there previous first-person shooters on PCs and stuff? Yes, but that was the first, like, I don't know, like I didn't have access to like gaming PCs and stuff, so like to see it on a console, for me, you know, there's Doom and other stuff, but like to see it on a console and like on a TV and stuff, like original Halo was like a big deal for me at least. So Bungie, incredible company. You got Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3. What do you got? Over Halo Reach, ODST. They were just pumping them out. Boom, 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 boom. Halo, incredible games, right? And then of course you had the breakup with Microsoft. Bungie going on to become its own publisher, I think, basically, and then Halo essentially turning its way over towards 343 Industries with Microsoft. So Bungie went off to do its own thing. If you don't know Bungie, also their very first game was a game called Marathon, which I didn't know nothing about. I know it came out some decades ago. I think that was also a shooter of some sort, but of which Bungie's announced they're remaking, which that's coming down the line. We'll talk about that. And also another game series that I formerly was a big fan of. I should be showing you guys. I made images and everything. I made images and everything. Here you go. There's the new look at the Marathon game coming up. And then there's our boy. There's the Master Chief. Yeah, love Halo. Big fan. And then going on to the next one, Destiny. Destiny was a huge game with me. My buddy Phoenix on the show, if you haven't seen him, he kind of turned me on to Destiny. I remember when the original Xbox One had come out. That was one of the games. That's the game he bought Xbox for. And he, I guess, was feeling a little lonely and wanted someone to play with. So him being a cool friend, cool buddy, he went out and bought me an Xbox One with the game Destiny. I don't know if you could say anyone's been more desperate to have company in a game other than doing that than going out and buying someone a console just to have someone to play with. But I think I was really wanting to play with him. So yeah, great experience. He bought me I had previously paid for the 360 version of Destiny, was playing it on the 360. Awful experience. I remember it was so pixelated and like I was enjoying it. I was having a lot of fun. That's why I remember I was having a lot of fun with the 360 version, and I was broke at the time. Now I got monies. Now I'm wealthy. I'm a super rich content creator, right? I'm the man. No, I'm kidding. I'm not any of that stuff. I can at least afford to buy what I want to buy, but that's, I'm not well off. I'm working a full-time job. What can I do? But yeah. Loving the 360 version. My buddy Phoenix goes out and buys me an Xbox One with the Destiny 1 version. Had a grand old time. Me and him played that game nonstop till the cows come home for 2 to 3 years maybe. I got to it a little later than everyone else, but still enjoyed it. Still was in on Crota. Still was in on it on was it Wrath of the Machine? Oh gosh, what was the name of the first raid? But yeah, big fan. Vault of Glass, Destiny, or Crota, Taken King, Wrath of the Machine. Big fan. We had a lot of fun, a lot of raiding time. Played into Destiny 2, played it a little bit. It delivered a lot of the same experiences, but they did what we didn't want them to do. They ripped away all the content, a lot of stuff, just to have to make you redo all that stuff. And to me, the raid wasn't that exciting. Me and him both fell off at almost the exact same time, never to go back to the game since then. So, that is my experience with Destiny. And since then, Destiny has been still working on Destiny 2, putting out content. I know they recently had a brand new big expansion. I don't even know how that's doing. I don't remember the name of it. I should have wrote that down as a good content creator. So that's where we get into Destiny and what's been going on with Destiny. If you haven't seen in the last, year was this? This was 2 years ago, July of 2022. If you don't know, Sony had bought, I should probably switch over so you can see what I'm seeing. Oh, nope. And nope. There we go. All right. So Sony has completed its $3.7 billion deal to acquire Bungie and welcome it into the PlayStation family. So I'm not going to read everything in the article, but I'll read as much as I can. PlayStation shared the news on Twitter, saying the agreement to acquire Bungie is close, and now we can officially say welcome to the PlayStation family, Bungie. Bungie also shared some words to mark the occasion, expressed how excited it is to join the incredible team at PlayStation. We are proud to officially join the incredible team at PlayStation. We're excited for the future of our company. We're inspired to bring together players from all over the world from lasting friendships and memories, Bungie wrote, per Audacia ad Astra. So, now, I should have done more research, but from what I understand, this acquisition of Bungie was not as positive as it may have seemed it was. From what I understand, Bungie at this time was darn near like not making much of a profit, and they were like on their way of like shutting down, it seems like, the entire development team. So it almost seems as though a acquisition or buyout for them was almost a must do in order for them to kind of survive where they're at. So, and I didn't know that at the time, but yeah, as it sounds at this time, Bungie, since then and even now, has been struggling and is barely, I don't even want to say making a profit. They're probably making a profit, but considering the expectations of some of these publishers and big companies, it's probably not enough to make them happy. Okay, so since then, Bungie announced a remake of Marathon. I remember it was some it's some Sony event. They announced a remake is coming for Marathon. We'll mention that in a second. So, just recently, what was it? Like around August, the beginning of August. So this is from Bloomberg. This is by Jason Schreier. If you don't know, Jason Schreier, formerly of Kotaku, another big 2 stories I'm covering that cover journalists, very big journalists within the creator space. So yeah, Jason Schreier basically here, he talks about how Sony faces reckoning after a mass layoff. So the creator of Halo and Destiny laid off more than 200 people this week, including several top executives. This week, Sony Group Corporation's Bungie shrunk from 1,300 employees to roughly 850, deep cuts that are likely to change the nature of the long-running video game developer. Bungie, the story creator of Halo franchise and the online game Destiny, said it laid off 220 people Wednesday, whose cuts included several top executives who have been with the company for decades, according to people familiar with. The teams that were hit hard included audio, narrative, and player support on social media. Individuals shared their layoff stories, including one person said they were set to go on maternity leave starting Monday. Awful. Terrible. The company said it's also hoping to move 155 others to Sony Interactive Entertainment, SIE, while a separate group will spin out a new game company within Sony to continue working on an incubation project codenamed Gummy Bears. This is the second layoff in less than a year for the revered game studio, which was founded in 1991 and has created 2 of the industry's biggest franchises, in Halo and Destiny. But ambitious growth and some big misses led Bungie to lose money over the last 2 years, forcing the developer to cut costs, freeze salaries, and shed hundreds of workers. So kind of digging into it, most of the people were critical of chief executive. We'll dig into this guy, Pete Parsons, saying he had failed to take accountability for his own bad bets and said he'd been overly optimistic in his communication with the staff. Some said Bungie and other company speculators spoke of Bungie magic. Where have we heard that before? A confident mantra. I think BioWare magic. That was another thing that had been spewed years ago when Bungie or BioWare. Confident mantra similar to ones preached by other elite video game studios. They can make anything work. Oh, BioWare magic, arcane magic. See, they even mentioned it here. A Bungie spokesperson did not respond to a request for comment. So that's all we'll dig into. As you can see, Bungie's not doing very well, dropping so many employees. Them doing that essentially has led to the development of the remake of Marathon is reportedly facing trouble at Bungie. There's a reason that it was planned for this year and slipped a whole year, says this article. Who is this? This is Games Radar by a Dustin Bailey. So let's see, Marathon. The Bungie-developed extraction shooter is reportedly facing production struggles, with some devs not confident the game will make its internally planned release date in 2025. Why that's a big deal is, if you didn't see the what was it? The Sony event that happened earlier in this year. This year already is a pretty bare and very thin year already for Bungie. So that definitely is a problem that that even this game isn't going to make it, because it's like they already don't have much coming out. I think they have Astro's Playroom, or whatever the sequel is to Astrobot. I think it's just called Astrobot. They have that game, and other than that game, I don't know what else Sony has coming out this year. So not a great year. I mean, other than Helldivers 2, Astrobot, I couldn't for the life of me say what else Sony has. So again, this getting pushed out is kind of a big deal, in my opinion. That's all you need to know. It's not looking good for Marathon. I mean, I'm assuming they probably lost some people, or I would love to know how big the crew is that's working on Marathon. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully, it's a decent sized crew. Let's see. So, did we talk about that? We did. Now, another big thing that had come out of this whole thing is while people are all infuriated that all this is happening, there was big news also happening with the CEO, this guy named Pete Parsons, and kind of his outlook on everything that's happening here. So let's see. Bungie CEO seemingly spent over $2.3 million on classic cars after Sony acquisition. Some are calling on Pete Parsons to resign after another round of devastating layoffs. Sony purchased Bungie, the original studio behind Halo and the maker of Destiny, for a whopping $3.6 billion in 2022. Following the sale, Bungie Pete Parsons purchased over 20 classic cars in online auctions costing millions of dollars, according to his account on the website Bring a Trailer. He continued buying them even after the mass layoffs at the studio. So, great dude. Parsons, who had been executive at Bungie for over 2 decades, has faced lots of public criticism over the last year for Bungie's struggles around the evolution of Destiny 2 and leadership decisions that led 100 staff to be laid off last October. A tweet from the CEO thanking those cut for their contribution to the company was accused of being tone deaf at the time. The longtime boss faced calls to resign again today, even temporarily locking his account on Twitter after announcing that 220 more employees would be laid off. Over 100 others would transition to Sony Interactive Entertainment, and a smaller team would be spun off into a separate PlayStation studio, blah, blah, blah. That's the Gummy Bears one. We were overly ambitious, quoted by Pete Parsons. Our financial safety margins were subsequently exceeded, and we began running in the red, Parsons wrote in the blog post. After this trajectory became clear, we knew we had to change over course and speed, and we did everything we could to avoid today's outcome. Even with exhaustive efforts undertaken across the leadership and product team to resolve our financial challenges, these steps simply weren't enough. But that statement comes just 2 months after Parsons was seemingly the winning $91,500 bid for a baby blue 96 or 61 Chevy Corvette. On the vintage car auction site Bring a Trailer, Bungie lays off 17% of its workforce. Unrelated here, it's a list of car CEO. So yeah, as you can see, they're taking it to him with all this stuff he's buying. It's unclear if the millions spent on the collection came from Sony buyout or Parsons' lifelong work at Bungie, and the amount would have likely been dropped. So again, what they're kind of talking about is the age-old thing of when a company is struggling and when employees are getting laid off, executives and CEOs continuing to receive large amounts of money, even though a company is not in good shape or is facing was it insolvency, I think is the word I'm thinking of. Is that when a company kind of goes under, essentially? So it's just like, everyone always points to the original Nintendo idea. Who was it? Was it Iwata? I think it was Satoru Iwata, who in Japan, when he took a pay cut when Nintendo was down in the dumps during the Wii U era. And I think, stuff like that makes the not even the Americas, just other companies, it looks bad. It's like why aren't CEOs and those people held to the same standard as employees? Like, I mean, why is because they're the CEO. But I don't know. It's kind of gross. It's kind of nasty to kind of do all that kind of stuff when your company is in rough shape. But yeah, like I said, I'll make this topic short and sweet. That's basically all I got. Bungie is just, it's kind of gone, man. We all have the original Halo games. We can always go back and play those. I'm not particularly interested in what Destiny has. I feel like Destiny has kind of been circling the wagons for like a long ass time. They did things in Destiny 2 when it came out that I was not wanting them to do. I was wanting them to kind of reinvent the wheel a little bit, and it kind of just felt like the same old thing. And yeah, I'm not particularly interested in what anything Bungie's got going on. Marathon, like, I'm not gonna. I'll wait until I see reviews on that. I'm not particularly interested. Like, I have a feeling that's gonna come out and that's gonna look like that game Concord or whatever else Sony has. Sony, man, Sony's bet on these live service games is tanking. I don't understand. Like, Sony, they're chasing trends, like, at the moment. It's like, dude, just do what you guys are good at. You guys have always beaten Xbox and stuff because you make great first-person, or you make great single-player games is what I meant. Go make single-player games. Like Like they made one good live service game so far, and that's Helldivers 2. It's like, yeah, that's a great game. Like you can make one every now and then, but like don't bet on the fact that you're gonna keep doing it. Like they obviously had the failed bet with what was it, The Last of Us Online? Where's that at? Oh yeah, it's canceled. So like that's out of here. That's out of here. There's no interest in Concord. Bungie is, I think what a lot of people are thinking is going to happen to Bungie at this point is that Bungie's going to get swallowed up and just added into the SIE, the Sony company, which probably means, yeah, will that mean a lot of jobs be held because they'll get swallowed up and just become Sony? Sure, but that also means a lot of jobs are going to get lost. That means that it's going to become an even smaller group of people. So it's like, great, you know what I mean? This company, Bungie's in rough shape. Everyone have a hope everyone keeps Bungie in your thoughts. You know, send well wishes to some of these people. Oh, I should also say, like, another thing that ticked off a lot of Destiny people is that, like, was it Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith, 2 long time like big names within the Destiny community. Those guys were along with some of them, so it's just like it's just about every bad thing you can imagine with Destiny is happening. And I also think they said that they're not, like, there's no more expansions coming for Destiny 2 now. Like, it's all going to be like smaller updates and stuff, so there's no more major expansions. So it's like that game's dead. Like, who cares about that game now? So I don't know, everyone, down in the comments anywhere, I'd love to hear what you have to think. Are you excited for Marathon at all? Are you still enjoying your time with Destiny 2? You still having fun with that? I don't know. I would love to, and also let's down in the comments. Let's reminisce on Halo, man. Let's remember how good Bungie was when things were good. They were the best of times. There were no worst of times, only the best of times. Okay, all right. So now that we're done with that, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so real quick, our final 2 stories, two rapid fire things I wanted to briefly go through. Another major thing that is close to my heart that, I mean, some people I think are kind of over exaggerating just how important it is, but it is something that I did like and did partake in for a very long time. If you have never heard of Game Informer, Game Informer was a publication essentially for magazines. Here, I even forgot I have a bunch of them within reach right here. See, again, as I show off just a couple of them, these are Game Informers. I find it hard to believe if you've never been in a GameStop, you've never kind of seen them there. But yeah, all sorts of issues covering all sorts of topics. Pretty cool. I always loved Game Informers. But yeah, so I had them for many years. This is what, like, how many is this? This is like 5 Game Informers, and I've got an entire shelf of like maybe like 100 sitting right there next to me. So yeah, again, I always liked Game Informers. Most people kind of don't know, but essentially printed media, you know, in the U.S. and our area is nowhere near as popular. From what I understand, in the U.K. and in the Europe area, overseas, apparently printed media magazines are still fairly popular. But yeah, unfortunately here, just not many people support it. Not many people are into it. Kind of, you know, even though like I mean, I don't know how many of them I've actually read that I bought, but yeah, I was subscribed for a very long time and have tons and tons of magazines. But yeah, as it turns out, I think Game Informer a handful of years ago was purchased by GameStop. And as it turns out, so we'll read this article straight from IGN. It says, Game Informer to shut down after 33 years. GameStop reportedly told them in a meeting on Friday it was closing immediately and they were all laid off. Game Informer has announced it is shutting down after 33 years after the GameStop reportedly told the publication it was closing immediately. They were all laid off and they would begin receiving severance terms. Game Informer's parent company, GameStop, not Game Informer staff, took to Twitter to share the news, saying after 33 years of bringing you the latest reviews and insights from ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. If you don't know, oh gosh, that tweet's gone. A lot of the people that originally have started, you know, a lot of people spread out throughout the gaming industry. Many had their starts with Game Informer. I know from a lot of podcasts I've seen, a lot of people with Kotaku, a lot of people with IGN itself, started with Game Informer. So, you know, it is sad to see almost an entire medium kind of up and disappear. I mean, not that it has been disappearing The thing is that Game Informer was like the last bastion. It was like the last a thing kind of holding on by a thread, and it sounded as if GameStop couldn't afford to keep it open anymore. Whatever. Just another reason not to like GameStop. But yeah, so from the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual realms, we've been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal leaders. The post continues. While our presses may stop, the passion we have for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming adventures never end. Kotaku has reported that Game Informer staff was brought into a meeting on Friday, August 2nd, with GameStop's VP of HR. In the meeting, they were told the publication was closing immediately. They were all laid off, and they would begin receiving severance terms. Game Informer magazine content director Kyle Hilliard to Twitter. Blah, 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 blah. Team is 70% done with the next issue, and it was going to have a great cover. So this is Kyle Hilliard just talking about how they were laid off and how frustrating it was, and how close they were to being done. Game Informer was founded in August 1991, a year before I was born. So Game Informer is older than I. When FuncoLand began publishing an in-house newsletter, GameStop took over the Game Informer when it purchased it, FuncoLand, in 2000. And then, so Game Informer, or GameStop had it a lot longer than I thought. It had become the longest-running video game magazine in the world. In 2011, Game Informer was actually the third largest magazine in the U.S. with over 8 million copies in the wild. Game Informer's website had been around since 1996. But yeah, just kind of really sad, again. Just other articles, people talking about how big of a loss it is and kind of what this means now for, I mean, we all know what it means for publications and stuff in the US. I mean, I'm sure the stuff like this will continue to go on overseas, and I don't know, I'm fairly sad, like, even though like the last handful of months I hadn't been getting any Game Informers. I had supported Game Informer for, again, I have an entire shelf here full of Game Informer magazines, so I am proud or happy to say I have a lot of them. And now, I mean, I don't want to say this makes it worth it, but I don't know, I'm at least happy to have all these magazines. I can always reference them or infer them. Maybe eventually I'll do a video just kind of talking about my favorite covers or favorite Game Informers. But yeah, that sucks, I mean, magazines are a huge aspect of my childhood. I don't know if I've ever talked about them, but I used to love the Beckett's magazines with Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a handful of those. I need to buy more. But yeah, Beckett's were a big deal. Game Informers were a big deal to me. There's other ones I can't think of right now, but those are all, I don't know, rest in peace to a major aspect of kind of my entryway into kind of nerd culture, I guess you could say. Oh, we forgot about Nintendo Power. Nintendo Power was another one. Nintendo Power, Beckett's, Game Informer, those are three major magazines to me personally. So yeah, not much else to say. Incredibly sad. Hopefully, hopefully as many, I'm getting tired of saying this, but hopefully as many of these people can, kind of land on their feet and find other work elsewhere. So down in the comments, let me know what you think about Game Informer, what you think about GameStop. Was Game Informer ever actually a thing that many of you consumed or read or purchased into? I would love to know. Okay, so moving on to our final topic right now. Alright, one last thing I kind of wanted to mention. This has nothing to do with the normal gaming and media stuff I normally cover, but something I really love that, I don't know, maybe on the channel you've noticed. I am a big fan of metal music. Big fan. Been listening to it all my life. My whole YouTube channel logo is surrounds the Metallica. It's close to the Metallica font. EnteRChazmaN, EnteRSandman. You can make that connection. ChazmaN I got from my dad, who when I was little he called me ChazmaN running around. So his favorite band was Metallica. My nickname was ChazmaN. EnteRChazmaN. That's where that comes from. But yeah, my whole life my dad was a big fan of metal. He would take us, or he would go to Ozfest and Mayhem Fest and Warp Tours and all that good stuff. We also had Buzz Bake Sale down here in South Florida. All sorts of ways to listen to metal. He introduced us to Metallica and Slipknot and System of a Down, Linkin Park, all that amazing things. So metal with me and my siblings, huge deal. I'm a big fan of metal. One of my favorite bands. This band kind of reminds me of them. I think that might be why I'm into them. But I'm a huge fan of Mastodon, one of my favorite bands. A buddy of mine got me turned on to them. MetalGamer from the channel, if you've seen. But get to the point. The Paris Olympics, the 2024 Olympics have been happening, and there was something super cool that happened there. That was the actual opening for because it was in Paris. The band Gojira, if you've never heard of them, my weird story with them, I've known about them for decades. Like I've always heard of Gojira. I even knew of a song or two. But for some reason, they were just one of those bands that had just kind of, passed me on by. I never really listened to them. I knew of like 2 songs, and the 2 songs I knew of I really liked. One of them was Explosia, and I probably heard of another song, but Explosia was a song I had really enjoyed. And but yeah, for some reason I just never got motivated to research them deeper or to listen to more of their discography or anything. But yeah, so I don't know, super awesome performance. I super dug it. I haven't been watching a ton of the Olympics. I've watched a very little bit, but I don't know. I at least there's other people that have like talked about this, about how this is so cool to kind of see Gojira get kind of put on a big stage like this. And I don't know. I just wanted to say, I've been, since this performance reminded me of the couple songs I liked from Gojira, I have been digging deep as heck into their discography, and I am really loving their sound. It very much reminds me of kind of like some Lamb of God-ish type stuff, but very much more so like Mastodon. I love like their subject matter that they cover. I have been turned on to the memes of them. They have Flying Whales, the song, and they have an entire album based around that. So a lot of people have made the connection between Gojira and the past. I mean, this is not like a new thing, but Gojira and Mastodon. Mastodon has their album Leviathan, where it's all about what is it, Moby Dick or whatever. So it's super cool how both bands have been compared to one another just because they have a fixation on whales. And I think even Gojira, from what I understand, the lead singer has like a huge fascination with whales. Apparently he's like a favorite band. So yeah, Gojira's great. I'm happy. That's all I got to say. I love Gojira. Now I'm a huge fan. Again, I had like known about them and had been like, oh, okay, I like this song and I like this song, but now I'm a Gojira head. Now I'm gung ho. Now I need to see them live, which I don't think I've ever done. So been to plenty of shows. For some reason, yeah, Gojira was never. They may have actually even been at a show I've been at, and maybe I just wasn't interested because I've been to a lot of festivals, and I guarantee you at one point I probably passed them over because I just wasn't interested. But stupid ChazmaN, bad ChazmaN. But yeah, I think that's about all I've got to say. I know the Xbox 360 store closed. Rip to that. I don't have anything to say about that. That was incredibly sad. There's, I guess, just talking about whatever we got else going on. If you guys would like another video, I could do a solo video on what's been going on with Comic-Con. I know a lot of people have been talking about the Robert Downey Jr. stuff with everything going on there. There's been a lot of news. If that is something you guys would like to see, please do let me know down in the comments. And then fret not, for I think eventually my buddy Phoenix and I would like to do a video on the new Borderlands movie, which has been getting just absolutely lambasted from reviewers and people who have seen it. Me and my buddy Phoenix were gigantic Borderlands fans. Borderlands 1, 2, I don't know if I'd say some of the other ones, but like 1, 2, and some of 3 we really loved. Some of our favorite games. So yeah, I definitely think that's something you guys can expect. I've got other things I'm working on. Anyways, again, get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Gojira. Let me know what you think about Game Informer going away. Incredibly sad stuff, but I don't know. I would just like to know, do you guys still enjoy this form of content? Again, I'm enjoying doing this stuff. This is super cool. So yeah, just let me know if people still are connecting with us. I will continue to do this every week or bi-weekly, however I can, whenever I have time for it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna stop beating around the bush. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I will see you on the next weekly roundup or video game stream or anything else I got going on. So, adios, everybody.